This thing got popped up in like 4 days, right? But the reason it worked was because this is a collaborative effort with the county, the Padres, obviously this Padre lot, and then UC San Diego Health, right? So the Padres brought to bear a lot of vendor contracts and events experience that they've done for like the games, right? And other events here. So that was good. There's one ingress here and then one egress, okay? So that's nice, right? So you have the flow of traffic that goes in that direction. So you can see that tower there, they drew power in and Wi-Fi. So this whole place is blanketed in a Wi-Fi system.
Wow.
And then of course the power that they brought in. Patients go to the county website, and on the website it tells you what tier it is and what the eligibility is. And then they go through that. They link to our EMR environment. So then they're inside UCSD's Epic, and then from there they can schedule. So then once they schedule,
it's really utilizing the patient portal to get them in.
Exactly.
Through the registration and all that stuff.
Right. And the reason that's important is because we use that EMR system to then track what vaccine they got, right? Because you got Pfizer and Moderna. But we also use it to ping them for the second dose. These are reg tents. So we have a stripped down registration process. And it just, the reg staff verifies who you are through the system, confirms you've got an appointment. These are all by appointment. Once they're reg, we queue them up over here. And it just so happens that the property has 2 traffic throughputs, and then they go up over into these tents.
We have an existing relationship with the Padres.
So this is our command center. And in the command center is, and we can go in there, but it's just workstations so our physicians can document any sort of reports, things that, adverse events. We've got, of course, got to have the Keurig in there. But on this side, we have the the refrigerator, sorry. So right now the vaccine is delivered, UC San Diego Health and Hillcrest is a receiving site for the county. We had to apply for that. And then every day there's a shipment of the vaccine here. And then we have the refrigerators. There's also what we call Centrax. Are you familiar with that? Mm-hmm. So that's a monitoring system for the in case there's any variations on the
temperatures. Yeah.
Because we cannot afford to, there's precious commodities. So that's in there. We also I don't know if you can see, but they have a lot of workstations on wheels. Mm-hmm. And so there's an ability to charge those computers in all of the tents. We also run them off of batteries if we need, but we store them here at night, and there's a charging strip in there, and they all go into that bin. Over there is our IS. They are actually on site because the workstations never behave when you want them to. And then we have our staff, there's a refrigerator in there, there's water, snacks, all that for the staff, and they clock in and clock out there. So what we do is we run, there's 3 tents. The design is 4 cars per tent, so 12 cars, and they all run in together. And then we have 2 vaccinators on the side. We've got an observer. She's a charge nurse because that's a yellow vest. We have an observer, and that's for that 15-minute recovery period. And then we have a runner, hey, I'm out of gloves. You go to that storage bin, Band-Aids, whatever it is, right? The stickers. So the vaccinators will do 2 cars here, and then they go to the other 2 cars, okay? And then if all of the cars do that all at once, then the observer starts at 15 minutes, and then that clock runs. Meanwhile, they go over to here when that 15 minutes starts and do the same thing. So
people are coming through here within that 15 minutes?
5,000. So we're trying to run 420 per hour, and we run 7 to 7, and so that's 5,000. That's how we get to 5,000.
Wow.
Now we can squeeze a day. Each row has an e-kit. And in there, we've got Benadryl and EpiPens and things like that for reactions.
So it's in like an orange toolbox.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you have your supplies that are in like the Craftsman, tool case. and then the E-kit is in a separate.
That orange.
Yeah, you can see
on
the
that
one
table.
down there. There's usually one for the side there, and that's where you have your Benadryl and your Epi.
Yeah. Come on,
Now that
Kristen.
this row is clear, he's
Oh, did you? Oh,
notified
no.
them
Oh
that
my
we're
God, I
clear.
didn't
So
know
what they're going to do is once the last set of cars leaves,
Thank you.
then they'll start moving the next group of people in, and they'll get 12 more cars in here, 4 under each of these big tents, and then you can see the different team at each tent, and they also work this side over here. So the teams on this side are now gearing up. There's 2 vaccinators per tent, so each one gets 2 cars, or sometimes you pair up and like one person does the documentation, the other one does the shots. It varies. You know, you can figure out what works best for you. So now they're bringing in the next set of 12 cars. They're going to run them all the way down to the end, get 4 cars per big tent, and then basically the vaccinators will have their wows, and then they're getting all the rest of their supplies. The syringes come pre-filled, so you basically have the syringes there, and you can carry them in a box or whatever. But you have your alcohol swabs, your gloves, your syringes, your Band-Aids, your stickers, the cards. All of that is sort of preset on usually those Craftsman tables, so that you can kind of mechanize it.
Our charge nurse that is drawing up the vials from the vials.
So you see right now they're getting all the cars. They're trying to get them as close as possible. They have the little tape sort of marked off, and they're trying to leave enough space for just a couple people to go through. Then they tell them to put it in park and turn the cars off, because they're going to be sitting here for 15 minutes.
This is a walk-up area, but that's a little confusing. They still are scheduled. It just means that we're not going to assume that everyone's going to come in a car, right? One of the questions that's asked is, do you have a history of allergic reactions? If you do, let's walk over to the 30-minute tent. The 30-minute lane isn't just because if you have a reaction or a history of reaction. We also use it to vaccinate people. These cones are here because when we have enough vaccinators, we actually put people even in here and we start vaccinating. I've worked at UCSD for 33 years. This is my favorite project, mostly because the doctors come out and they are the same. It doesn't matter if it's a nurse. My son, he's a volunteer. He's out here working, and they're all the same team.
Well, it's like the happiest place on earth, honestly, because people are so grateful.
Yeah.
They are so thankful for doing this. They just, I mean, the vibe around here is so positive and just fantastic.
Yeah, they wait 2 hours and then they go out crying because they're so happy. We've got cars, and so this is utilizing more, getting more throughput. This is how we're going to get to 5,000. But you can see that if you have, okay, so when we started the registration, if you identify yourself as a history of having an anaphylactic reaction or any kind of allergy, there's going to be a colored piece of paper that's stuck on your windshield, and that directs you over here. So for those who are, have that reaction, they can stay in their cars here, but they're going to be observed for 30 minutes, not the standard 15. AMR's here. We now have a BLS on site. Oh, it's over there, the ambulance. So we don't have just ALS, it's also BLS transport. And then together between the doc of the day and of course the EMT, as I mentioned earlier, they'll jointly make that call to 911 if that's the case. On average, for 4,000 and 5,000, we're getting about 1 to 3 transports a day.
So Lydia, I have another question. You mentioned this on the phone call the other night. So at the end of the night, if you have 5, 20, 30, 40 vaccines that are going to go to waste if you don't use them, what do you do with those?
At 5 o'clock, the charge nurses are no longer allowed to get doses by themselves. We start sharing the doses, right? So that we can start consolidating the doses. Whatever we have left over at night, we have an agreement with the county that we will vaccinate our volunteers. Then we have agreement to vaccinate our partners, our law enforcement partners and first responders. And the county is now asking, because now during the pandemic, we've started housing our homeless at the convention center. So they're asking if we can start setting up a process to bring them over in the evenings. And then we have people that line up. They line up, outside the gate, and they're just sitting there hoping that they'll get extra doses, right? So I mean, there's 100 people, and
Wow.
you know, yeah,
That's
there
great.
are a lot of people. So a lot of we're getting, you know, community partners. We set up a website for volunteering because we can't. I mean, UCSD doesn't have 250 employees, you know, every day. It's kind of it. Yeah, I don't know. There is these storage bins, and so there's a daily pickup on Sharps, you know, group. Yeah, and we've got plenty of PPE.
Sharps
Yeah.
containers get, you know,
Right.
normally taken care of and picked up by the folks that do that
Yeah.
job. So you know, it's all, you know, universal precautions, just like
Yeah.
you would do in a clinic.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is
Yeah, it was nice
absolutely
meeting you guys.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Fantastic.